Hi guys, welcome back to the Far Side of Normal podcast. My name is Stacy Farr, the creator and host. This week, I have to apologize. I had a unexpected adventure, which leads our podcast to be filmed and released a little bit late. But nostalgia. Actually, the adventure lent to nostalgia. Long story short, I got stuck in a tiny town in Georgia because my car wouldn't start after we had a girls' weekend up at Cabins. Had to get it towed down to the bottom of the mountain in this very, very tiny town where everything is closed on Sunday. Thus, we had to get a motel, which turned out to be a gym in the middle of nowhere. And we got our car from the mechanic today, got back on the road, literally just walked in the door about 40 minutes ago. Thus, the filming is a little bit late. But nostalgia was huge in that little town. They had the old school kind of general store that had everything. You had your groceries there, you had your alcohol there, you had different kinds of things that you could hunt with. It was definitely retro fabulous. I'll just say that. The little local restaurants that are closed on Sundays and Mondays, and they're open Tuesday through Saturday. There are hours that are limited. People that live above their businesses. The mechanic that rescued me, bless his heart and his soul, he'd been doing it for 30 plus years. And he literally came from the hospital where his wife is unfortunately in recovery from cancer, but came to the shop, checked out my car, towed it to his garage, repaired it, and sent me on the road, even though he has so much on his plate. I cannot tell you the last time I had quality service like that. That's nostalgia. When people cared about people, when they looked out for one another, he understood the situation because when I got towed to his location, because you have to get towed to the nearest mechanic, he happened to be one of the three that were on that same route, which is off this little bitty highway. But I called to leave a message to let him know that, hey, if you arrive tomorrow and there's a car there, this is what happened. This is who I am. Probably about 45 minutes after that, I get a call. Mind you, this is Sunday afternoon. Because again, we got there Friday, had our great adventure, and we're getting ready to leave on Sunday morning and the car wouldn't start. So this is Sunday afternoon when they're closed and everything shut down in this little tiny town. And he asked what was going on. So I explained the situation and wanted to let him know the car is here and we'll come tomorrow. Hopefully it's not too much trouble and we're so sorry. And he's like, oh, no worries. I'll meet you there or somebody will. And this is how God is gracious. The mechanic named John, the owner's name is Brian, who him and his wife own the shop. The guy named John is a mechanic that had worked for Kia for 13 years. As a mechanic, my car is a Kia. So I was like, let's go, Jesus. That encouraged my soul. This little gem of a motel, it's incredible. It's called the Nomad Inn, I think. And it's at this little bitty town called Trenton, Georgia. I feel like it's at the bottom of the mountain. I'm going to go with that. I'll put information at the end and show pictures. It was amazing. And it's probably like 5 minutes from the mechanic shop, right off the little highway. You guys, that little town is definitely nostalgia. There was a little church on every corner. Their little main street was so tiny, it was literally one light. You had the little town hall on the left, their little strip on the right, and you had a little roundabout. It was everything great. They had a little Christmas parade, I guess, on Saturday that we missed. But man, I wish I could have been there. We went to 2 vintage stores / thrift stores. This is where the nostalgia definitely kicks in. Do you guys remember Tupperware? They had Tupperware. Do you remember the old school original Pyrex where your grandma used to use to bake stuff and cook stuff? They had whole sets that were unbelievable. Oh my gosh. In pristine condition, and the prices could not be beat. I found this old bingo set that was fully complete for $2. Of course I bought it. Next month we're having bingos and boba tea. Let's go. They had this vintage bride bingo. I don't even know what that was, but it was from 1946 and it was complete. And if I know somebody getting married, hand to heart, I'm going to call them and have them ship it to me. I'm not kidding you. It is incredible. And it was in mint condition. They had the old school, you remember girls, because, well, maybe guys did, but ladies, remember when we used to play with paper dolls? They had those. They were amazing. They had all of those old school oil lamps with the little Greek goddess and the oil coming down. They had old furniture that was solid. These solid wood pieces were incredible. They had the old school, you remember the couches that your grandmother had that you can't sit on, but you could look at? It was for the adults. They had that furniture. It was everything. They had Raggedy Ann and Andy toys. They had old school Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse toys. They had vintage Cabbage Patch dolls, you guys, in the box, mint condition. And I was this close, this close, this close to buying them. A few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now, we decided to go on a getaway trip. I had just finished my project, and so we had to escape. We saw this general store, an old-fashioned general store. Of course, we had to go check it out, you guys. The little promo with all those pictures are from that general store. They had these big barrels of vintage penny candy. They had all these old school toys. Remember those toy soldiers that you used to step on that your little brothers had and that your mom always threatened to throw away? And even though she threw them away, they multiplied. They had those. Remember Lincoln Logs and pickup sticks? They had those. They had old school Lincoln Logs. They had Etch-a-Sketch, those Rock'em Sock'em robots. They had those. They had Mad Libs, for heaven's sake. It was amazing. And it had me thinking, because of the holidays, why I think we love nostalgia so much is because for me, it was a simpler time. Even though times were still challenging, it was a different kind of challenge than now. And we still had fun. It didn't cost a lot of money to have fun. You could do a lot more for a lot less. And I don't know, it just seemed there was more possibility and potential. Here's a case in point. When I was growing up as a kid, I'm not going to date myself, but it was back in the day. We'll say it's in the 1900s. You could buy penny candy. And I remember on Fridays at our school, you can buy a bag of penny candy for $0.25. You could also buy a gigantinormous pickle in a bag for $0.25. If you were really rich, you could buy a soda or a juice and a slice of pizza. All of that was for less than $1. This is how retro fabulous I am. You could buy a McDonald's ice cream cone that was at the time real ice cream for 26 cents. You could scrape together 26 pennies. Just saying. You could go to the store, and if you had even 10 cents or 15 cents, you can make out like a bandit with candy. Nostalgia. Watching the retro cartoons that you watch and see every year for Christmas makes me smile. Rudolph, the Frosty the Snowman, even the newer, older ones, like his wife Crystal and her little origin and how they got married. Even the story of Santa Claus and how he first became Santa Claus. I love that one. How you explain how the reindeer fly and how he became Saint Nick and the Burgermeister and his little shady family and how y'all go like Christmas and how the stockings got hung so the toys could be hidden. And he was such a Scrooge. Maybe he was the original Scrooge. But I love watching those. The old school Charlie Brown, The Grinch That Stole Christmas, and The Who's. Yeah. Good times. Listening to retro music. At these vintage stores, they had old school Christmas trees and ornaments that were glass. They don't make them like that anymore. And they were absolutely gorgeous. They weren't my style. My friend was tempted. I had to talk her off the edge. Her husband's not going to choke me. And then we would not be able to have fun anymore. And we'd be on punishment from each other. So we didn't do it. But we were tempted because they were incredible. just seeing those old school hobby horses, and remember those toys that you would sit on and kind of slide? They had those in the yellow school buses. They had whole Barbie houses and dolls and the accessories and Kens. You guys, they had some incredible things. They had record players with records from way before I was born. It was lovely. And just talking to some of the little old ladies that were going me through there, they were so funny. They were like, "Oh, I remember this," and "Oh, you should get that, and that's an incredible price." Listening to them talk about it, because that was their history or their life at the time, was super fun. The music. I love doo-wop and the crooners from back in the day. I don't know. Every time I hear them, I just think, oh, it just makes me swoon. And it's so dreamy. Getting doo-wop Christmas songs is a winner, winner chicken dinner. And I love it. I don't know if we even have crooners today. I mean, we have R&B and we have country. I don't know if we do have crooners. I've caught a few people that are bringing vintage fabulous back. So maybe we do. And I know that with fashion now, we're going backwards, not far enough back, in my humble opinion. Can we go back to like the 40s and the 30s and the 20s, even the 50s, but the 70s, really, in the 80s? Not so much. I'm just saying. Here's my opinion, and I'm going to die on this hill. The only person that looks good with a mustache, like everybody's trying to sport now, is Tom Selleck. If your name is not Tom Selleck, just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Why do we have mullets again? For why? Can't we bring back amazing fashion? Remember how men and women used to dress even to go to the store or to church? Can we bring back that fashion? Oh, with the hats and the suits. There's this guy on TikTok that dresses retro fabulous, and it is every single thing to me. The fit, the cut, the material, the quality. That's what I miss. Nostalgia is good. I don't even dare say great. I think sometimes it's hard because for me, I long for simpler times, for less go, more be, less do, more spending, quality, not volume. And we don't really get that anymore, or as often as we probably need or want. And sometimes, dare I say, it feels like it's a luxury or a privilege for the elite and not for us commoners. But driving back and being stuck in traffic after I got my car repaired, I had 4.5 hours to think, to plot and plan this podcast, but also thinking about nostalgia and even being stuck in that little bitty town. It was a fun inconvenience. They had one grocery store, which was like this little Ingles. It was amazing. They had some incredible things there too. Things I'd never seen, and we tried it, and they were great. They had this ginger aid thing because we were both kind of like stiff. It started raining really bad, and then it got really, really, really cold, so it was icy, and we came from heat. So we're both like, what just happened? But that ginger aid helped. It was old school ingredients. It had ginger, filtered water, I think agave nectar, and lemon juice. That was it. That stuff was like a tonic. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. It's been a harrowing couple of days. But even walking around their little, they didn't have department stores or brand stores like TJ Maxx or Marshalls or Ross. They had this little shop store, and I can't remember the name of it, but that's where you bought your clothes. They had a section for men and a section for women and a section for kids and a section for babies. But it was amazing. And they had some great sales. So we bought some stuff. My friend got a Christmas gift for her daughter, I was able to get 3 Christmas gifts for my sister. Walking around, it was fun because it reminds me of Little House on the Prairie when they only had the mercantile store and you bought everything from there: shoes, eggs, wood, lumber, food, whatever you couldn't grow, you bought or you bartered. I remember that one episode where for shoes, they bartered eggs, and then his wife that owned the mercantile didn't want the brown eggs, and he made her take the eggs, and everybody got a new pair of shoes. That was so funny to me. I don't know why that just came in my mind. But it reminded me of that. And even the small town, everyone look out for each other and take care of each other. That guy didn't know me from Adam and Eve. I called and left a message because I was stranded on a holiday. He took time out of a lot that he has going on to call me back, to make sure that someone was going to be there, to reassure me that I would be well, and to let me know that his mechanic was a master mechanic for 13 years of the company of the type of car that I had. That's nostalgia that I want us to have and embrace, to look after for each other or take care of each other or to be there for complete strangers, because you wouldn't want that to be your daughter or your sister or your mom or your child or your friend or your wife or whatever is stranded. We went to that little motel and we were sitting in the office because the door was unlocked, and then we were waiting for a while, and I thought, wait, we saw the cleaning person. I'm like, let's just go ask her, one, if we can look at the rooms, because you could tell on the outside it's been updated, but sometimes it's a trick. They'll update the signs and the outside, but the inside still looks like a serial killer Chester molester motel. We're not doing all that. We don't even like motels. You stay with H's, hotels, not motels, but this one was amazing. The girl turned out to be the daughter of the owners, and she told us the story how they saw this dilapidated, rundown, it was a serial killer motel, but they decided instead of, tearing down and wanting all these new same old hotels basically to pop up and down the highway, because remember, they're like throwing distance from the highway. You can see it from this little town. It butts up against it. There's all these hotels, and no shade to chain hotels, but they decided to take something old and to restore it into something new and functional for this little town, to kind of put their name on the map, but also to reduce, reuse, and recycle something that was already there. And they did a phenomenal job. She let us see several of the rooms that she was cleaning, and then we chose one, and she said, I'll clean that one first, and you guys can check in, because poor thing, you guys have had a moment. Mind you, check-in wasn't until 4 o'clock. It was not even 12:30, maybe, when we got there and we found her. And so she showed us a couple of the rooms that were unbelievable. She explained to us how to register or to book a room, and I was explaining that no one answered, but I try again. She said, I'll call my dad and let him know that you're going to call and he'll answer. I said, okay. So we go back to the office, we sit down. By the time I reach the phone to call, he's like, hello, this is, I can't remember his name. And I'm like, hi, this is us. And I explained to him what's going on. He's like, oh, yeah. No worries. And if she gets done soon, by all means, go in there. I'll send you guys a code. And he even sent us a 10% discount, you guys, even though this was last minute. It was on a Sunday. Remember, Sunday in a small town, everything's closed. They allowed us to book, gave us a discount. She cleaned our room first so we could go in there. And she explained to us, yes, all the cafes and all the restaurants around here are closed except these Mexican restaurants right here, Pizza Hut. And then there was this little mom and pop store kind of down the way. So she said, go and eat lunch. And by the time you guys get done, I'll be quick. We're like, take your time. We impeded on you. We ate Mexican food, which was amazing, by the way. Sat and kind of people watched because everybody was getting out of church. And these little churches were so lovely. They even had the bell that still rings at the top of the hour. So we ate our food. We decided to take pictures of the town square. I'll, again, attach these to the video. And it was so much fun. Or I'll make another little post with some of the video of the little town. That was the sweetest thing. And she said, here's my number. I said, here's mine. She said, I'll text you as soon as we're done. We get a text after we were taking pictures at the town square. We went to the room and it was amazing. It smelled like bleach, which we knew it was clean. We didn't realize the trauma of the morning. Oh, and let me go backwards. It had stormed really, really bad because we were in Tennessee the night before, and I guess there was 5 fatalities because of a really bad accident in the storm. That was God protecting us. When we were overnight sleeping, it rained so bad. It was so bad. But we had a break in the weather, just enough time to get my car down the mountain towed, to get situated, and then in the hotel. And I thought, wow, thanks God. So we were in there for a few hours and we just took a breath. And then we looked, there's this, oh, let me go backwards. There's this neighborhood dog that brought back nostalgia. You know how in every movie they have like this little community dog? I had put my car there, waved to the little sweet guy that was the tow truck guy, and this little dog goes by and I'm like, hey, doggy. Well, then when we go to the hotel, he went running by too. And he was so unconcerned about people. And I thought, oh, okay. So then we were down the way taking pictures at the little town main area. He went twirling by there and I thought, whose dog is this? You could tell he's well taken care of and he was healthy. His coat was shiny. He looked well fed. So I think he's the town dog that everybody takes care of. I don't know. That made me laugh and it reminded me of a Christmas movie. Because of course in a small town, you're going to have a mutt roaming around and everybody's going to love him and take care of him. But yeah, nostalgia. In this time of year, I think more than any time, because people kind of slow down a little bit, allows you to remember, to think back when you were a kid or when you were growing up, or even as recent as a few years ago. A couple of years ago, we were in a global timeout. Simpler times before COVID, before social distancing, before sheltering in place. You did more with people. You had more fun, I would dare say, without the fear of illness that could be life-threatening for sure. But also, in my humble opinion, things weren't as hurried or as frantic or as stressful, or at least for me, they weren't. It wasn't always about acquiring. It was about being with people. I was able to volunteer more and serve more, which is one of the things I love the most because it puts things in perspective. We grew up very, very poor. I can just full disclosure, as always, on this podcast. And sometimes we grew up homeless. My way of remembering how far God has brought me is to serve, but also to give others encouragement and hope that it may be your situation now. It won't always be like that. And to hang in there. I can't promise you when or how, but things will get better. I love volunteering and serving food at the shelters or at the churches, organizations that they have. And sometimes I've been on the receiving end. So yeah, nostalgia of even where I've come from, which makes me even more grateful for what I have now and where I'm at. And then watching the little kids. I still believe in Santa Claus. Don't judge me. And seeing just bits and pieces of kids' wonder and childlike awe, looking at Christmas lights or seeing Santa Claus or reading books about Santa Claus or, the night before Christmas, I have a kind of sort of godson, but not really. I have done my darn best since he was a child until now, and he's 10. He's going to be 10, so he's 9. To make him believe and have wonder and magic and awe in his life. And he still does. And I had to break it to him that this is the last year, alas, that the elf comes, because when you turn 10, he goes on to take care of smaller children. Kind of like the code name Kids Next Door. When you turn 13, you're no longer a child. So you get booted out the Kids Next Door. He was kind of traumatized, but I told him he was worried again because he also moved to a new location. They have a new house. And I said, don't worry, bud. Remember, Elfie knows each house that you live at. Santa knows that you have 3 places. Gigi's house, your mommy and daddy's house, and you come to my house too. They know all those places. And he was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I'm 100% certain that each place you go, if Santa Claus cannot find the first location, he'll go to the second. If not the second, the third. So you'll have presents at each location. Don't worry." I think I reassured him. I think I did. But just the wonder and magic, and that he still believes and that he still gets excited. Yeah, I hope that this Christmas season, you take time to reminisce. And I hope that the reminiscing is good. Sometimes it's not so great, but I hope that you can find a few gems, even among the coal. I hope that you get to watch retro cartoons and laugh your face off. Some of those cartoons were crazy. I hope you get to listen to old school music that makes your heart smile and your toes tap and you swoon. I hope you get to do old school things. Take hay rides. Go look at Christmas lights. Make s'mores. Make hot chocolate. I don't know, string popcorn and put it as garland on your tree. Maybe make homemade apple cider. Watch It's a Wonderful Life or duplicate the Charlie Brown Christmas meal that they had. What was it? Toast, popcorn, jelly beans. I feel like there's something else they had. Toast, popcorn, and jelly beans. I know. Maybe make that with a Friendsgiving gathering. Watch Home Alone and laugh. Recently, Macaulay Culkin received a star on the Walk of Fame, and that made my heart smile. Watch Home Alone with a new generation and laugh all over again. Look out for your older neighbors. I don't know, be old school and take people cookies in those metal tins that you get every year. Write Santa Claus a letter. I don't know. Go ice skating if they have anything near you. Luckily for us, in our town, kind of down the way, every year they put up this temporary ice skating rink. And you can do like hot chocolate and ice skating, and they have this whole winter scene. It's a lot, but it's amazing. They have fake snow because, of course, we're in the South. And, well, never has it not snowed, but it doesn't snow a lot. Maybe do a horse-drawn carriage or take a horseback ride. Go sledding if you have snow. And then definitely be warm because it's cold as cuss out there. Do things that bring back that magic, that remind you of simpler times and hopefully fun times. Nostalgia is good. It's good. Don't lose sight of how great you have it now, but definitely reminisce and think of how far you've come, maybe where you want to go in this new year, how great things were, how good things are now, and how you want things to be in the new year. Like I said, thank you for that little bitty town. I think it was Trenton, Georgia. I'm going to go with that. Thank you, Brian the mechanic and John. Thank you for the Nomad Motel, putting up 2 sojourners that were stuck like Chuck in the middle of nowhere when our car didn't start. Thank you for the Mexican restaurant being authentic and real in the Ingles little grocery store. God bless Pizza Hut for holding it down and Dollar Tree being open. And for safely returning home. Home is definitely where I love to be. Adventures are great, unexpected ones even. But may your heart be at home this Christmas as you think about nostalgia. Thank you so much for watching the Far Side of Normal podcast. I hope you have an incredible Christmas if you don't have an episode before then. Until next time, goodbye.